because there's always a story behind feeding. There's always a story about what's going on, and sometimes it's related to the food, sometimes it's related to the interaction, sometimes it's related to the child development. So you have to dig deeper. What's behind my child is hungry all the time? Is the child getting regular meals? Are the meals satisfying? Is the child eating enough at mealtime? Is the child getting snacks? Is the child in sports and just has more hunger? Is the child in a growth spurt where he might have seconds and thirds?
I think that we really, as a country, rely on food as the solution to our problems. And unfortunately, food isn't the answer to everything. And especially with child nutrition, there's a lot more going on. As I mentioned, child development, growth, that interaction between parent and child around meal times can have a positive influence on how well children eat, or can have a really negative influence and perpetuate problems like picky eating or obesity that parents want to get rid of. So I think that, when we're talking about the topic of child nutrition, there's a lot of information out there, but nobody has really pulled it all together into one resource that really parents can use from birth all the way to the time they launch their child into college.
If I did family style, my child would eat too much. Has anybody ever heard that before? If I just put food in the center of the table, my child is going to overeat. I'm not going to be able to control what he has. Okay, there's a story there. That's a clue. There's something going on. Why are you afraid that your child would eat too much? Maybe the child's overweight. Maybe the child isn't overweight and the mom is just afraid he's going to be overweight. Again, digging in. What's the story? Finding out. Quelling the fears, giving factual information and tips and tools that will really help parents navigate this scenario.
Jill's an inspiration. She has such a way of pulling together science and integrating that into our world and coming up with practical ways of applying. She's just great.
Very good speaker, yeah. Very motivational, very well understanding everything, yeah.
Well, Jill's Jill. I mean, what can you say? She's dynamic, she's good, and she just gets it. She's lived it. She's had the patience, she has her own kids. So she can speak from experience, not just from, this is what the literature says.
Because what we do today might work for now, but we want children to be raised to be healthy eaters, to like broccoli ultimately, right? So we need to be thinking and helping parents think with that long-term view also. Helping parents understand their child, and every child is different. I have 4, they're all different. So really, to be a good feeder and a good parent is really having an appreciation for the different temperaments of your child.
We want to raise children who are going to be healthy adults, not only healthy adults because they eat right and they move, but healthy adults who feel good about their bodies, who respect food, know how to balance food, who know how to cook, who know how to purchase meals or purchase and plan meals so that then they can feed their children.
Key milestones in development can wreak havoc on the feeding relationship. Things like picky eating and food jags. A lot of problems with feeding get started in toddlerhood. Why? Parents aren't prepared to deal with the normal developmental stages of toddlerhood, and their reactions to those normal stages can be counterproductive to what they ultimately want.
Oh, I think she's awesome. I think she's really targeting on the head. I think it's going to be great for the nutrition profession of how to look at and work with families. I love the concept of feeding versus meals and that type of things.
I think that it gives me a better appreciation for what parents are up against. I don't have kids of my own, so just that idea that parents, they really are doing the best they can, and it's a huge challenge to feed our kids well the way the world is these days.
To conclude, it is not about eating. I hope today that I have shown you, I've hopefully expanded your mind, your thinking, shifted it, done something to show you that we need to have a broader focus in working with children in the 21st century. Yes, we talk about food and nutrition, but we also need to talk about the how and the why. We need to be addressing the whole child the whole time, focusing on what only underdelivers. It fails to get to the root of parenting and feeding. Addressing only parenting and feeding, or the how, falls short also, because our kids are growing up in a present-day food environment that encourages overeating and inappropriate food choice. So we have to dovetail these things together to really have an approach that's going to be more effective.